everyone. I'm Kim Jacobs, host of The Kim Jacobs Show, where we're bringing balance to the world one household at a time. Listen, we go live every weekday, Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I bring guests on that talk about their backstories, things that they've had to overcome to become who they are today. Many of them are balancing and juggling life, and they've become experts in different fields. So they're sharing tips with you to make your life just a little bit easier. Many times as a guest in the studio audience, you'll get a chance to walk away with a missing piece of the puzzle that might be missing in your life. Let's go on this journey together, and I look forward to seeing you Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on The Kim Jacobs Show. You're watching Kim Jacobs Show. Everyone, and welcome to this episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Happy New Year to everybody. How are you over there, Michael and Carrie?
Doing great. Thank you so much for having us.
Well, you know what? People have no idea what they're in store for today. So listen, grab your virtual seats, everyone. Go ahead and share this broadcast with your friends, your family, your coworkers, people you know, people you don't even know. But the point is, let people experience today's episode. I am, when I say excited about the opportunity to talk with Michael and Carrie today, they have such a creative approach to what I feel is spreading the good news. And I am excited about hearing their journey, their story, and what they're doing to salt this earth. That's the best way I could think to word it without giving out too much. What do y'all think?
I like it. Yeah.
You're like, yeah, we're going to go back and capture that. That's going to be our. So all of you definitely in ministry, if you're knowing people that are looking to just help the communities that we serve, especially from a ministry perspective, definitely chime in and let us know where you're calling in from or where you're visiting in from today in the virtual studio audience. And we'll try to get your questions answered in particular as well. Let me just go ahead and jump right in, because today we have two guests that's going to be on. We have the first half of the Kim Jacobs Show, and then the second half we have Natasha Halliday, who's going to be talking about the psychology of change. So make sure you stay put throughout the entire episode. So I want to go ahead and talk to you about this couple here. Carrie and Michael are volunteer resource partners who travel full-time in their RV to help churches implement curriculum from lessons.church. So you're going to learn a lot more about them and how they have over 25 years in ministry experience, spanning both youth and children's ministry in Mississippi, Tennessee, Texas, and Oklahoma. They are passionate about both children's ministry and technology, and together they're able to help churches become equipped to have thriving children's ministries on any budget or no budget at all. That's huge. Welcome, Michael and Carrie Bird, to the Kim Jacobs Show.
Thank you so much for that. Yeah. No budget at all. That's what we love. And that's what makes our job so easy, is that we're able to go into churches and be able to share the resources that we have. And there's no paywall or no, hey, you can't do it. Anybody can do it. And it really is almost 100% free, other than the devices that you buy to put on the TV to be able to use it. And so we'll definitely get into that. But we started out just in children's ministry, actually youth ministry, as any good children's minister does.
Well, before you get to the children's ministry and the youth ministry, how did the two of you meet? Because you both have to clearly be like-minded to be going full-time traveling in an RV. So that's not just like any old body.
In short, it could be a very long, funny story, but in short, my dad introduced us. He's a minister, and he was preaching a revival at the church Michael was the youth minister at, and basically just thought that we would hit it off, and we did. And I don't think he really thought we'd get married. I think he just thought, I'll just introduce them. They'll be friends. It'll be fine. And yeah, like 9 months later, we were married. So Yeah.
He was playing matchmaker, but it really turned into a match made in heaven type of
It is,
situation.
yeah.
It absolutely did.
Yeah. And there's lots of jokes. We've told people we're in an arranged marriage, or but that's just we're just joking with people to see their reaction.
Yeah.
But in a good way, a wonderful arrangement. How long have you been married now?
It'll be 22 years this year.
And the whole you just got on the road and started traveling in an RV.
Well, no, that was
No.
this year.
That was this year.
So
Oh, okay, I was like, what?
we're still new to that part. Yeah.
Yeah. There was a whole journey getting up to there for sure. For
Yes.
sure.
Yeah.
So,
Well, good. Okay. So you are in this RV. You've made a conscious decision that in your marriage that's been well over however 20 years or so here, you've decided that you're going to take this thing on the road together as husband and wife.
yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, when we come back after this commercial break, everybody, we're going to deep dive right into their philosophy of traveling the road and helping churches around the globe. So let's take our first commercial break, and we'll be right back to hear from Michael and Carrie Baird. We'll be right back.
When someone has lost a loved one, they want to know what exactly happened. They want to know, is the other person going to be held responsible? And they want closure. At Hunter and Everett, we help clients that have lost a loved one move on, and to do that with dignity and respect that they deserve.
Everyone, we're back and we're talking with Michael and Carrie. So now your philosophy is that everyone should be able to have access to quality church curriculum, not just those that can afford it. So talk to us and tell us what you're thinking.
Yeah. So that really came out of just working in smaller churches, which is where we began. So we were in children's ministry and youth ministry at churches of 100 or less. And when it comes to a budget of a church for 100 or less, it's not a pretty thing. If you're in a church like that, then you know. And so usually your budget is your salary. And so if you have a salary, if you're just a volunteer, then your budget is even lower than that. And so we worked hard to make our own curriculum, but it took some time. As our careers kind of grew, we moved into larger churches. And when we got into larger churches, we realized, wow, there's some incredible curriculum out there that just makes teaching kids really, really a lot easier.
Yes.
And saves a lot of time. So if you're a teacher and you're creating your own curriculum every week, week in and week out, that takes time. And with kids today, there's a lot that they can get distracted to.
That's right.
And
Adults, not children.
adults too. That's very
We talk
true.
about children, but adults can do that.
It's very true. And so as we kind of got into bigger churches, I kind of had this desire to keep helping the smaller churches that I knew of. And I had a lot of friends that are in ministry too. And they'd say, hey, what curriculum are you using? Can we use it? And I unfortunately would say, well, the curriculum we're using is great. And it really helps kids come to know Jesus a lot better, but it's going to cost you $2,500 a year. And I might as well say, that's going to cost you $1 million a year, because the money was not there. And so we both had this desire to be able to do it. And then it was probably about 3 years ago that we really started pushing on Lessons.Church. I'll let Carrie tell you a little bit more about how that started.
Well,
Okay.
it did start with the money, but then we also thought, why can't everybody have just access to this quality curriculum? And we kind of discussed making our own curriculum to give away. But we knew it was going to take a lot of money from somewhere for us to create that, because these curriculum companies put in a lot of money into what they're doing. And we ended up just reaching out to some people and saying, hey, you've been putting out curriculum for 20 years. Can we just have your old stuff to give out to churches? Can we just recycle the old stuff?
Before you continue, I want everybody really to take a second and go ahead and tag any ministry leader or anybody that you know is involved in church in any regard. Tag them. I'm going to give about 30 seconds here, because I need people to tag folk to be a part of this. Hold on. Keep that up. Go ahead. some good stuff. I'm tagging folk. Y'all should be tagging folk like crazy. Okay, carry on, Carrie, with your thought.
So Michael, once he gets something in his mind, he is driven. He is one of those people that is just not going to let it go until he has exhausted all the avenues. And so he reached out to a church after a couple people recommended, to a church just north of Houston in Conroe, Texas. And they are a larger church, and they were creating their own children's curriculum. And they had tried to give it away for free before, and they didn't have a good avenue to do that. They said, we tried and we didn't know how to get the videos to people. We didn't know, the technology kind of side of it.
Because there's still a lot of cost. I mean, curriculum's great and video curriculum's great, but then getting it to the TV and having it show there automatically to where a teacher doesn't have to spend all the time learning all the technology.
Right.
That's tough too. And it was just too big of a hurdle for them. In fact, they had actually started a curriculum company, and this church, it's the Ark Church in Conroe, Texas. They are a church of about, I think, 7,000 to 8,000 people, just a really big church, fascinating people. And their whole idea, they spent 10 years making a curriculum. When we say free, we mean donated.
Right.
Because they spent well over $1 million just making just an incredible curriculum. And then they actually tried to start a curriculum company, but it just didn't work out because their desire, their heart was to give it to churches. But as a company, they needed to sell it. And so it was like, we can't do this. And so they had given up on that idea. And a guy connected us, and they said, we're just about to give up on the whole thing and just use it for our church, even though we wanted to use it for other churches. And then you called, and that was God. It had nothing to do with us. It was just God putting us together.
That's good. I'm really glad God connected us and allowed our paths to cross, because this is necessary for everyone. So the curriculum that you're talking about is costing quite a bit for those that are purchasing it. And so how do you end up giving it free to community churches, and how do you get those resources to them officially?
Yeah.
Well, the Ark never charges for anything. They are completely free. And we just happen to know some really great coders who could create a database type system for it to be delivered to everyone.
Yeah.
And so just with a simple Fire Stick plugged into a TV, and you download our free lessons.church app, and then from a computer, you say, I want this lesson to show on this Sunday.
Okay.
And you can schedule 6 months in advance, and it will automatically switch from one lesson to the next.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's super easy, and it's built for those churches that don't have somebody dedicated 40 hours a week, especially. It's built for them to use.
Okay.
So at last church that we were at, we had 3 campuses that we had to get curriculum to. And this kind of drove me to figure out how to get it effectively and efficiently to every campus. And that's where the idea of the program came in. And really the program alone is just an incredible amount of coding and different individuals. And there is a trust that is set up that has helped us be able to keep funding this. And so the programming alone, there's nothing out there like it. It is truly incredible. And it's almost too good to be true when teachers like, what do you mean it's going to automatically be there? But once you start using it, and we have about 60 churches that are using it every Sunday now. And on Sunday morning, you come into your classroom and you click a button and it says start lesson, and the new lesson is there for you. The next Sunday morning,
free.
100% free.
Yeah. Okay. Wrap your hands around the fact that usually when we hear it's free, it's always some catch at the end. That's typically what whatever society, stereotypical, whatever. The point is, we know that that's typically the case. They say it's free, but it's a catch, a caveat, a carrot, something at the end. In this case, you're saying it is 100% free.
Yes.
It is 100% free.
And it's free because there are other churches that are giving the curriculum, other organizations that are giving the curriculum. So that makes it open source and free. But then there are coders around the world that have joined in with us and are helping to code this to make sure everything works correctly. And it all is off of in Acts 2:44. If you read that scripture, it talks about the church sharing everything alike. And that's
Yeah.
what we want to do.
All
want
believers working,
all
us working
believers.
together. It doesn't matter what your thoughts are about each other's denominations, but we're
That's right.
all working together
Yes.
on this journey
Absolutely.
called life. So that's good. Now I see some comments that came in. Pop the comment up. I saw my mom. First of all, hey mommy, thank you so much. And my mom said, "Good morning, everyone. Very good to see you all this morning. And thank you, Mom, for being with me in the emergency room throughout the night. And I just want to thank God for a wonderful mom because I do not take it for granted." I see you saying good morning, Facebook user. Hey, okay. And oh, Cassandra, you also stayed up throughout the night, texting and calling and checking on me. And I appreciate you. Lady Cassandra Davis is a pastor's wife in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. And actually her husband, Pastor Selwyn Davis, is the one that you all see this new template that's happening here. He stayed up throughout the night to create that for me. So thank you. Thank you. And they're with Servant Church. So if you're in the Charlotte, North Carolina area, make sure you all visit Servant Church, and they truly do have a servant's heart. All right. All right. Let's see other comments.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. Now you're saying that this is completely free. I do want you to walk us through the steps of how to obtain access
Yes.
to lessons.church.
Absolutely. So because it is open source, if you go to lessons.church, it is a website, just like .com, it's a .church. So lessons.church, and you go to that website, you can scroll down and see everything that's available. So since we've started, we've had more and more curriculum added. And so now we don't only have children's curriculum, but it goes all the way through adults. Ozark Christian College is a college in Joplin, Missouri, and they partnered with us. And they put over a terabyte of college professors teaching the word on there. And so you would pay thousands of dollars to go see these professors if you're going to a Christian college.
Yes.
But it's 100% free because their heart is the same. They want the world to know the good news, and they don't want a cost to be a barrier. And so they took the opportunity and put all their curriculum on there too. So you can watch it from right there. And really,
I'm going to go to it. I see you, Ernetta Caldwell, one of our Freestyle Friday experts on reinventing yourself. Glad to have you on. I'm going to share this. I want to share this. You can take the comment down, Mackenzie. Let me share the screen for a second. All right. Because I want to pull this up so people can see. I'm a visual person. So I'm over here looking. I'm over here looking at lessons.church, and I want to make sure everybody gets to see it. This is great information that you all should. I'll pop this into the screen. Any questions you all have, type them in the comment section.
Please.
Yeah.
Anybody that's in the studio audience. Let's see. Okay,
Yep.
Can you all see it? Yes.
There
All
it
right.
is. So yeah, you can see us. And if you watch that, it's a great video to kind of explain what we do and why we do it. But if you keep scrolling down, you'll see there's the ARC, that's the elementary, and then the ARC junior. So the elementary and the junior work together, and they're the same main point and everything, but it's specifically for that age group. So you got early childhood and you got elementary, which is
This
important.
is awesome.
It
Yes,
really
it
is.
really
So the
is.
whole
And so
family.
and so Michael and Carrie, when you download the app, you go to lessons.church, you download the app. It's a free app. It's going to pull up curriculum each week. That's new curriculum for Art Kids Elementary and Art Kids Junior.
Right.
You're going to get new curriculum every week by being a part of this downloaded app.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, basically, yes. And if you keep
Okay.
scrolling, there's youth ministry and adult ministry. But and that's just to preview it. That's where you're at. If you want to preview the lessons, or if you want to just watch them on your computer at home, this is where you would do it. You click on one and then click on a lesson. If you're wanting to schedule it for your church, you would create a login at the top right hand of the corner.
And if you keep scrolling down there just a little bit further, you'll see a video right here. So this video is really for anybody that is a teacher. And if you had a house church, this would work, but at an actual church, it works the same way. And we have people from churches of 30 all the way to churches of 8,000 using our system. And so it works everywhere. That video will show you how to set everything up. I highly encourage you, if you're a pastor, to watch that.
Mm-hmm.
And then right there at the bottom is the apps. And so there's the B1 app, which
Let me go right here.
Green,
The
blue.
green
Yeah.
one.
Okay. So the green app here, get B1 Church app for volunteers, get
Yep.
Lessons Church app, Lessons.Church app for TVs.
Yep.
Mhm.
And if you
And
click
then
on
just-
that, it'll take you to the Amazon app, and it'll work on any Google device too. But the Fire Stick is, if you wait, you can get them for $14.99 on sale. But they're usually $24.99. And once you get those, you just download the Lessons.Church app, and then you put your church name in. It pulls up your church, and then that's how it ties all the exact lessons to it.
So you're picking the lessons. So you get to go into the ARC and say, we want to do the stories on love because it's February, and we want the early childhood and the elementary to do it at the same time. We're not picking what you're going through. You're picking what you're going through. And so you get to choose. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if
So
there's
what's the what's your rationale behind why you're doing this? What made you do this?
well,
Who
being
are
in
you
children's
people? You know how people say people in a derogatory way. I'm saying it in a good way. Who are you people?
well, being in children's ministry and setting these things up and working, we love working with kids, and we love sharing Jesus with kids. And doing that, it took so much time. This literally took 20 hours out of my week as a children's minister that I was able to put back into meeting with families and helping them. I always dreamed of something like this that would work, and then at no cost. And so that's what drove us. That's why we did it. So if it feels like it works really good for a church, it's because we made it to work good for a church.
Right. And we believe that the larger churches, it's great that they have the money to spend on curriculum, but these small churches, they have, maybe 10 kids. Why can't those kids get the same quality as the larger church kids? There's just no reason that money should be the issue to making sure a kid learns about Jesus in the way that's most effective for them.
Yeah.
I love it. So now listen, everybody that's watching, wherever you're watching it from, if you're watching on CTR Media Network, I know that means we're in 46 countries. Make sure that you all take advantage of this wonderful opportunity that's being offered by Michael and Carrie Bird. No strings attached. You don't have to join their ministry. You don't have to become their buds or anything. You can just get the free app and bless your church. For once, can't something like this, in my opinion, African American, Caucasian, we all work together and have some viral videos that are beneficial to the world.
Yeah.
We're locking arms and we're helping one another
Yes.
to be able to spread the good news and the gospel of Christ. I salute you all today for being here. I'm very honored to have you.
Well, we are able to do it because there's lots of people that are behind and lots of people that are it's donor funded. And so there's lots of people that just give to the ministry because they see what's going on and they want to see that happen. And so thank you to all those people that are doing it. We just get the great job of being able to go hang out at churches and show people how to do this. And it really is amazing. And that's what we're doing right now. We're at Lake City Christian Church in Lake City, Florida. Because we live in an RV, we like to keep it warm most of the time.
Yep.
But if you wanted us to come to your church, it doesn't matter what church it is, and just be around to be able to help, then we will do that. And we would love to do that.
And how do they make that happen? How can people stay connected with you to be able to book you to come? If you're going to drive your RV, listen, now I'm going to tell you in advance. If you're coming to Charlotte, North Carolina, I want to get on that RV. I want to interview you and say you're here. I'm Kim Jacobs, host of the Kim Jacobs Show, and they are in Charlotte, North Carolina. So you have to commit to that if you come to Charlotte.
Absolutely, we will.
Yep.
How do they connect with you?
Yeah, so it's really easy on Lessons.Church there. It looks like we've shared a lot of times. There's a little question mark in the bottom right. If you just click on that, it comes up with all of our information. And that is our direct cell phone. So if you call that number, Carrie or I will answer.
Okay.
And also a way to use Facebook to get a hold of us from there. There's also a way to send us an email from there. We're here to support you. And so anytime that you're going to set all this up in your church, you're like, I don't know how to get, that's okay. We'll set up a time. We'll set up a Zoom meeting, and Carrie and I will literally get on and walk you through it. Because once we get it set up, You're going to
It's so
see
easy.
it's so easy that you'll just keep using it and you'll love it.
Oh my gosh. Y'all have made this so incredibly awesome. Now, I didn't really get an understanding of why the RV. Why are you in the RV traveling the world? What made that be the case? Somebody tell me.
Because one of our goals was to be able to actually get to know churches in America. And if you just go in for a week and set everything up and then leave, that it
It's not
doesn't seem like
effective.
it's not really effective. You don't really know exactly what they need. So what we like to do is spend 2 to 3 months at a church and really help the senior minister, or in a lot of smaller churches, there's only one senior minister. And so we can become like employees for him. We're just volunteers with Live Church Solutions, but we'll do anything in the church to help them out, to encourage them, and also set up lessons in the church. So yeah, that's why we do it. And we love churches. We've been in churches
Yeah.
all of our lives, and
We're both ministers' kids. We just love
it.
We love churches. We love ministers. We want to help ministers. We've seen them struggling for years to do everything, and we want to just relieve that a little bit and help them.
What a beautiful, beautiful commitment and a legacy that you're going to leave on this earth. You're making an indelible mark that's going to make a tremendous difference in the lives of everyone, for real, not just saying it. And I can definitely tell you that you are definitely getting exposure to Dubai, because the bishop of Dubai jurisdiction in the Church of God in Christ is on here, and he's watching. And he said, "Awesome, this is good." And this is Bishop Amir May and Lady Kenya May. And so you definitely are being exposed to them today, and a few other pastors that I'm sure are on as well. Pastor Selwyn Davis, and I talked to you about that with Servant Church. They said this is amazing. Him and Lady Cassandra Davis said this is amazing.
Oh, that's great.
You're gonna be coming to Charlotte at some point.
Right. Yeah, we want to go to Charlotte.
Awesome.
That's great.
And then also, listen, they're bringing balance to the world, one household at a time. As you see here on the Kim Jacobs Show, that's what this show is all about, how we can make your life better through some experiences of our guests that have overcome some tremendous odds themselves to become who they are today. And Michael and Carrie stopped by the Kim Jacobs Show today in the midst of a huge conference that they're attending to be here to bless you all today. So make sure you email Michael at livecs.org, Michael at livecs.org, and that's also in your comment section. Any closing comment?
And thank you so much
you.
for being here.
Yeah.
We are excited. We love that more churches are seeing this, because the more churches that see it and the more churches that use it, the more it can grow. Our idea is really that this will span even the paid for curriculums that are right now. There's people that are making those, man, they have great hearts and they're doing an amazing job. But what if they could give all of that away for free? What if they were donor supported and they could put their material up on lessons.church? We would love for that to happen, so that any curriculum out there can be available for free. If it has to do with Jesus, it should be for free for people to use.
Yep.
All right, everyone, listen. This has been our first half of our guests, Michael and Carrie Bird. Enjoy your conference. I'm sure people are going to be reaching out to you. Make sure you all say the Kim Jacobs Show sent you their way. And I love to stay connected with you all. Next, everyone, we're going to have, and you all stay put for a second, but we're going to have the psychology of change. Why do people make New Year's resolutions and not follow through and things of that nature? You're going to hear from one of our Freestyle Friday experts, actually, Natasha Halliday. She's going to be with us right after we learn, if you're interested in starting your own show from scratch and you don't know how to do it, you have a business, you're a motivational speaker, an author, an entrepreneur, well, you should be broadcasting your own business. And I want to let you know that I train people to do that. So let's learn a little bit about that. And we're going to hear from Natasha Halliday next. Thank you all. Y'all are amazing. Have a great Hello, everyone. I am Kim Jacobs, the host of the Kim Jacobs Show. And you all know who's right here with me, Dr. Les Brown. How are you, Dr. Brown?
I'm blessed and highly favored. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the time you want to give yourself a competitive edge. If you got a message, you have some knowledge or experience, a story, or if you want to do something adventurous and exciting with your life that can increase your credibility, expose you to millions of people, I am encouraging you to have your own talk show. I used to have a talk show. That one talk show catapulted me to another level. Now there are more people watching the internet, as you are aware, than television. Come
Yes.
on, somebody.
That's right.
Dr. Kim Jacobs, she trained people on how to have their own talk show. She will train you how to do that. And now, with me working, partnering with her, now you have the combination of an audience, expansive audience. We have over 4 million people in all of our platforms, and the coaching you need to grow your business, to grow your multi-level marketing organization, to draw more attention to yourself in this noisy economy. Go ahead, Kim.
So in the training that I do, Les, I actually do a 6-week training. It's 1 hour per week. And each week I meet with the individuals one-on-one. We go through and we talk about all of the things that's necessary for a show to become a reality. We go from how to actually identify your focus area, what's going to be your ideal customer that's going to be tuning in. We'll talk about how to get guests, how to get sponsorship, how to go about getting your lighting, your branding, and your banners, and everything that you need to know. And guess what, Les? They own their own content at the end of the day.
And that's exciting. Now, if you're ready to create a shift in your business and in your life and increase your cash flow, I want you to go to KimJacobsConsulting.com. It's right there on the screen, KimJacobsConsulting.com. You know, people say opportunity knocks on every door.
Right.
No, opportunity stands by silently waiting for you to recognize it. So I want you to recognize that this is a time for you. This is an incredible time to have your own talk show. It establishes a level of credibility.
Yes.
And by being exposed to people on a regular basis, it allows you to strategically begin to impact and attract your audience. She can take you in a place in yourself that you can't go by yourself. So go to KimJacobsConsulting.com. That's KimJacobsConsulting.com. Did I say KimJacobsConsulting.com? Yes, you did. Very good. Make sure you go there and sign up for the coaching, and we're looking forward to working with you. You have something special. You have greatness within you. That's my story, and that's Kim's story, and we're sticking to it. Bye for now.
Bye-bye. Okay, go to KimJacobsConsulting.com. Welcome, everybody, to our second half of our show with none other than our own Freestyle Friday expert, Natasha Halliday. How are you?
I am great. How are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. You look relaxed and
Why not? I am.
not like me. I told you I was in the emergency room all throughout the night. So
Yes, and
thank
I'm
you for
very
your
glad
prayers,
you're here and you're good.
I was determined not to cancel this show. So I'm really glad that you're here today. Let's talk, Natasha. Now, I want to talk to you. First of all, I want to introduce you. I never get to formally introduce Natasha Halliday because usually we have our Freestyle Friday experts and we go quick, right? But today, Natasha Halliday, MA registered social worker, professional speaker, comedian. She is a therapist, speaker, comedian, and author, and has worked supporting individuals with their mental health for over 20 years. She currently supports individuals with their mental health through her private practice. You all didn't even know that about our Freestyle Friday expert. She is passionate about helping people unmask fear, overcome adversity, and rebuild resilience, bringing messages on these topics in her speaking across the world. And after trying stand-up comedy off of her bucket list, she decided that she couldn't do it only once. So now she's added comedy to her whole hats that she wears. I am so excited because she's out of the Toronto, Canada area, and I'm happy to have Natasha Halliday here with us today. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, so New Year's resolutions, the psychology of change. Talk to us. Why do people make these New Year's resolutions and not stick to them?
Well, the funny thing to me about New Year's resolutions is the more I think about them, like, who even decided that this was a thing to do? And so I find that, New Year's resolutions is a thing, so we do them. But are we asking ourselves, with the changes that we want to make, why are we not already doing what we say we want to do?
Good.
So I think it's really important to look at if there's a behavior that I'm engaging in that I want to make a change, as as where I'm at right now, what's the reason I'm doing it that way right now?
Mm.
So, what's a classic New Year's resolution? I'm going to exercise, I'm going to eat healthy, I'm going to get more sleep.
Right.
Are we asking ourselves why we were doing it differently than the goal? And so it's important for me to, I think people uncover, we often deal with things kind of at a surface level,
Okay.
right? So I set this resolution, but what's to say that the change of a calendar year, or as I like to think about with dieting, I'll start on Monday,
Right. Right.
the many Mondays I've had in my own life.
Yeah.
Um,
Dare not start talking about that. Even though I've lost 12 pounds through my son Ivan helping me quite a bit, but I
awesome.
have a long way to go. So
Yes.
we'll see.
But what's to say that our ability to make a change is contingent on the day changing in a year on a
That's right.
calendar
That's right.
or it being a Monday? So it's important to look at what is the reason why I'm not doing what I want to do. If I'm not eating healthy, and we know, and I'm guilty of this too. I'm a therapist, but I'm an emotional eater. I'm still working on that one. If I'm an emotional eater, how does January 1st change that?
That's good. That's just a good way of even thinking about it and wrapping our head around it. One day of the week does not change your mindset, is what I think I'm hearing you say.
Yes. And it doesn't, we sometimes set pretty high goals or pretty big goals,
Right.
but we're often setting ourselves up for failure,
That's good.
right? And then there's that crash and feeling like, oh my gosh, I didn't do it. And then, okay, well, I'll reset and I'll restart. But if we haven't examined why we weren't able to sustain it, why we're even doing it, how do we actually make a change?
That's good. So okay, this is good. And if you have questions in the virtual studio audience, go ahead and start putting them over here for Natasha Halliday. And she's a therapist, like she said already. And she's committed to helping us with the psychology of change during the second half of this episode. So put your questions, your comments. And if you missed the first half of the episode, go back to lessons.church and check out the free curriculum that's available for churches. Please make sure you do that. Now, Natasha, when we come back from this commercial break, I want you, if you would, to give us some mind shift strategies so that we can know how to really implement change in our lives. Is that possible?
Absolutely.
All right. You look like you were born for that. You like, I'm ready, girl. I've been ready.
I'm ready.
Okay. So listen, we'll be right back after this commercial break, everybody. Wow.
I have peace of mind with Silver Shield Security, which has been protecting my family and home, along with servicing the Carolinas for over a decade. Silver Shield Security knows the importance of convenience and safety. Whether you live in an apartment, a home, or run a business, they are here to protect you from unwanted intrusions and fires. Call now at 704-440-4688 or visit the website at www.silvershield-security.com. You can use my promo code #ToneX and get 1/2 off your installation price. Don't forget to ask about the new no money down options. Let Silver Shield Security help to give you peace of mind, just like me and my family, and keep your business safe.
That commercial right there, because that's Tone X, international comedian, and you have a comedic side to you too. So maybe I need to connect the two of you, right?
Why not?
That's right. All right. So let's hear your philosophy on the psychology of change.
Well, one thing I wanted to touch on quickly, and so, having studied psychology and things like that, there is a stages of change model or theory.
Oh yeah, let's go through that.
So this to me is key to touch on, right?
Okay.
Because when we're looking at making change, and this is what comes up with New Year's resolutions, things like that, it's just I make a decision and I say I'm going to go. But with the stages of change, it asks you to look at, the first thing they say is pre-contemplation. So this is when somebody's even becoming aware that there's a change to be made.
Okay.
Then they move to contemplation, right? So I don't think people always necessarily think about, we got steps before even go to implementing the change.
Right.
Right. And I think part of the reason we set ourselves up for failure is we just say, I'm going to make this change go. But have we spent time in contemplation about what making that change looks like? Have we prepared ourselves? So one of the things that I love to endorse this, James Clear, Atomic Habits, fantastic book.
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that I still do based on that book, it talks about when you want to create a habit that you want to keep,
Yes.
how are you setting it up to create ease? Right? So this is part of the preparation for me. So I wanted to increase my water intake. So I get up in the morning, I fill a bunch of water bottles, and I put them where I spend most of my time. There's one
That's
in my
good.
office, there's one in my bedroom, there's one in the family room, there's one in the kitchen. So I don't have to remember to go somewhere else to get water when I want to drink water. I have it. I have one here. Now sometimes I find that 3 or 4 bottles end up in my office because that's where I spend the most of my time, and I walk with them other places. But it's easier to drink water when I don't have to get up to go get it because it's present wherever I'm at.
That's good. And let
And
me interject right there too. Same thing. I put a big, like a cool, it's a canister that that stays cold and it's filled with ice and water. And I put it right by my nightstand so that when I first get out of the bed, I can go ahead and hydrate. And that works. That does make a big difference versus having to come out, go to the fridge, get a bottle of water, then and taking it in. So that's good. Go ahead.
Yeah. So when we look at the preparation, what are we doing to set ourselves up to start making this change? And then we move into action. Then we actually do the thing. And the last part of it is maintenance. So I've started it. What am I doing to maintain it? Right?
Okay.
If we are changing our eating to lose weight, sometimes people get to the desired weight goal and then don't necessarily sustain that. But what got you there is what's going to keep you there. Right? So we sometimes forget that it has to become a practice that we continue in rather than we make a change temporarily to achieve a goal.
Yeah, I typed what you were saying: pre-contemplation, then contemplation,
Right.
then moving into action, and then maintenance.
Oh, there's one in between, preparations in between the contemplation and the
Well,
action.
I can't go back and edit it.
It's
now.
all good. It's all good.
Y'all just make a note of that, Mackenzie. If you could type that.
But I think I love that stage to change, because I mean we learn it in psychology because how are you going to help your clients?
Right.
For this exact reason, so that they're not setting themselves up, because we get caught up in words like motivation and then we beat ourselves up saying I'm not motivated enough. But what does motivation do with what you've done to create a system so that you can make the change?
Wow.
Right? Motivation is kind of based on feelings, and to me it's a little flighty. Like we feel really motivated one day, we don't feel so motivated another day.
Down, and it's all over the place, and then you can't
Right?
be consistent to be able to really bring change about in your life, because it's
Yeah.
all based on how you feel at that moment. And
Yeah.
I disagree. I totally disagree with the theory of how I feel in the moment, because there are times when you feel great and then there are times that you don't, but you still have to be consistent and still show up for
Mhm.
yourself and in life. So it's like it can't always be based on your feelings.
Yeah,
If it was based on how I feel right now, I wouldn't be on the show today.
precisely.
Literally.
But you made a choice because you're operating in consistency. There's other things that are driving you to do something beyond your motivation.
Right. I love
Right.
it. I love it. So so now you've talked about these different areas, and go back through them again: pre-contemplation, then
Contemplation, preparation,
preparation.
action, and then maintenance.
I want to type that. Preparation is key too. Okay. Yeah, preparation, then action, because then you're going to act on what you've been thinking about, is what I'm hearing you say.
Mhm.
Then you're going to then go into how do you maintain this new behavior.
Mhm.
Good. You're masterful over there.
Hey, I didn't create the stages of change theory. I just wanted to bring it to the audience.
But it's how you brought it to the audience, And so I hear it differently. I'm sure wherever it came from before, I hear it from you differently. That's why people are always assigned to people. You're
Yeah.
assigned to the Kim Jacobs Show studio audience. So I'm grateful to be able to hear you and to be able to implement what you're sharing. Okay.
My goal
So-
is always to be able to deliver information that makes it tangible and palpable, so that we can actually understand it and walk away with something that makes sense. I don't want to speak a bunch of, jargon that is just not meeting people where they're at. What's the point?
That's so good. Very good. Okay. So now what do you, I know right before we started talking about these areas here, we were talking about, wait a minute, somebody actually asked the question: what helps to keep you focused and keep you going when you start something? When you
Okay.
officially start something, how do you keep it going? Ernetta said.
So one of the things that, people talk about, I hear this a lot when people are talking to entrepreneurs, is asking somebody to examine what's your why.
Right.
Because often your why doesn't change. So if my feelings change, but my why doesn't change, if I tap into my why, that hopefully can then help me supersede my feelings to continue to do something.
That's right.
Right. So when we're looking at what we want to do, and this is part of why, if you look at the stages of change, if I've done some preparation, I've also maybe set up some systems to help make this thing happen.
That's right.
Right. If I decide, again, I'll use going to the gym. If I decide that going to the gym is what I want to do, but I don't schedule it, and then I'm waiting for when I'm in the mood during the day and I have free time, well, something's going to come up.
Yeah.
Right?
Every time.
So,
Something's always going to come up.
right. So if I want to stay focused, I may be creating some systems that help me do that. So personally, what I do right now, I don't have a gym membership, so I exercise in my basement. I've got my workout clothes down there with my running shoes. So I just go change. I've got a bottle, I bring a bottle of water, and I have the stereo set up for the music. And that for some reason, that one little thing about bringing the workout clothes down there made it easier. I don't know why. For me, that was a big help, but for me, that made a difference.
Well, that's
And
because it's always important to have your tools available and resources available when you're starting on a project,
right.
instead of having to go and gather the duct tape and gather the nails and hammers. Have all of the things already there. Then you can go ahead and get started on the project right away.
Yeah.
You have your resources right there at your fingertips. So it makes it easier for you.
And I think when we look at staying focused, part of it is, we're asking ourselves, what's the reason I'm doing this? And what am I aiming towards? Because it's easy to get caught in this is hard in the moment.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I feel like there's a lot of, you only live once, life is, live like you're golden. And there's a lot of subtle ways we're being taught life should be easy.
And this is
But
so
change
far
isn't
from
easy.
easy.
And life isn't easy. And it's there's lots of things in the challenging moments that are part of the way we develop as human
Right.
beings.
I agree.
And so if we try to avoid all hardship, it also becomes hard to make change, because we're like, well, if it was too hard, forget it. I'm not going to do it. So
But
part
like
of why
Les
we
Brown
stay
says, if it's
focused-
hard, then do it hard.
Right. But part of the staying focused is accepting, if this is what's required to get to where I want to go, and I really want this, then this is what I'm going to do.
And this is what I'm committed to doing. So great question, Ernetta. And any other questions you all have? I see you, Dr. Peggy Johnson, as well, saying thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being in the virtual studio audience today, and for all of the books that you have written that are priceless pieces of content for people to glean from. So keep doing what you're doing. All right. I see a lot of comments coming in. Preparation is key. Yes. And any other questions and comments, please feel free to ask them throughout the rest of our discussion. So now we've understood the phases of the psychology of change. Now, how do we actually implement those? I see you, Dr. Peggy. How do we actually implement the change in our mind for it to really happen in our actions?
So I think this is, again, why it's important to uncover what's contributing to us not doing what we want to do.
Okay.
Right. So if, sometimes it's like, okay, we'll go back to something like, let's talk about maybe saving money. And somebody's saying, I want to save money and I want to have this amount of money. Well, what are some of the barriers for that? Could one of the barriers be, in the moment, somebody spends money as a stress response? Retail therapy is one of the things they do. So to say I want to save money, what are the things that I know that might create barriers to that?
Right.
Right? Are there things that, despite us wanting it, is there also a fear behind actually achieving it? We've heard about fear of success, right? So I remember having a conversation with a friend many years ago who told me that one of her fears about becoming successful was a lot of family members then expecting too much from her.
That's good fear. I mean,
right?
That's a
And so
fear.
she didn't want to be in that position where they're like, you're doing all this, you're making all this, so can you this, can you this, can you this? And she's like, and she said she recognized it was creating blockages in her actually moving forward. So even though she wanted success in one area, if we're not aware of where there might be a fear, where there might be something that creates a blockage, we don't necessarily recognize the subtle ways that we self-sabotage, because there's another thing that even though we want it, there's another reason why we don't.
That's good.
So if we're not practicing introspection to kind of figure out what's really going on, we just tell ourselves we're not motivated enough, we're lazy, we come up with all these ways to kind of slam ourselves, which doesn't help the case.
That's really good advice and a great example that you're sharing too.
Yeah.
Now, I know that you have a program that you're going to be inviting people to be able to participate in, and I really want to make sure people learn about the ins and outs of that so they'll know what to expect as we put the invitation up as well.
Yeah, so I'm going to dig a little bit more into this, and I've called it I'll Start on Monday, Change Beyond
I'll start on
Motivation.
Monday? Okay.
Yeah, so I'm doing a webinar on January 25th at 7 p.m. And I'm calling it I'll Start on Monday, and then Change Beyond Motivation, to talk about this very thing, to dig a little deeper into what are some of the reasons we're not making the changes that we want to make.
Hey, Lady Anderson, how are you? Tanya Anderson. Listen, let me ask, is it going to be on a Monday by chance?
No, it's on a Thursday.
Oh, I was like, is it on a Monday? Is it
Or is
okay?
it a
So it's gonna
Wednesday?
be-
I can't even remember what day of the week that is. I think
Okay,
it's
okay.
a Wednesday.
Well, I'm going to
It's
put it
a
in the comment section. Self-sabotage is real and often is subconscious, is what
Yes.
someone also said as well.
I totally agree. There's a lot of subconscious nature to the self-sabotaging behavior.
Listen, in the comment section is the link for you to be able to participate in the webinar. That's not going to be on a Monday, but it's basically saying, hey, going beyond I'll Start on Monday theory. Natasha Halliday is going to be working with you one-on-one, or not one-on-one, but in a group setting that you're going to feel like you're one-on-one. Because when you talk with Natasha, you feel like you're the only person in the room with her. So.
Yeah. So it's on a Wednesday. It's 1 hour. It's only $10, and because y'all are in the States, it's even less because it's $10 Canadian. Like I'm not like trying to make a huge profit over this. I just want to have some time to have a conversation with people about, let's dig in, and I chose towards the end of January because that's usually where people have like, oh, I set these resolutions and I didn't follow through.
Right.
And then they're feeling pretty bummed about it. But if we're not understanding why, then we end up having these moments of, again, calling ourselves lazy, saying we're not motivated enough. And so it's recognizing, how can I step beyond these things and actually look at how to make sustaining change?
Well, everybody screenshot this.
And I
for a
just
moment.
realized that change is spelt wrong. My goodness, I sent you something with a typo.
You know, I thought it was some play on words. I saw that.
No, I totally didn't see that. Oh my gosh.
And I am so bad because I said, maybe that's a Canadian thing. Shabash.
No, that was a typo thing.
You know what? That's when your comedic spirit definitely comes into play, right? Because
Oh yeah, no. What can you do but laugh? Because
it's all good. The bottom line is the information is definitely not going to be auto spelled or auto corrected. It's
not going to change the content. It's not going to change people getting an opportunity, because there's a series of questions that I want to take people through to ask themselves to help dig a bit deeper.
That's good.
Right.
So
I like to think about, as a therapist and as somebody who specializes in mental health, that I take people on emotional anthropological digs. So let's dig into self.
What kind of dig? Say it again.
Emotional anthropological. So I'm not an archaeologist, but like I take you through the emotional dig to get down to below the surface, to uncover some stuff to help understand. Because if you think about it, we learn about our civilizations through digging into the deep. So we learn about ourselves emotionally by doing that dig into the deep as well.
So listen, the link is here. It's also in the comment section. So make sure you go to eventbrite.com/E, and I'll start on Monday, Change Beyond Motivation tickets, because some of you are podcast listeners. So make sure you go to eventbrite.com, and I'll start on Monday. If you search that in the Eventbrite, it'll pop up and you'll be able to be a part of this webinar that's coming up at the end of the month of January, for you to be able to make some changes that you'll actually stick with in this year. Okay. All right. Let's see other comments that may have come in. I didn't want to. We've all been there. People say we've all been there, or we've all been there. Probably talking about the shabash. That's what we call it. Blessings to you both. Blessings to you both. Any other comments or points that you want to make regarding the psychology of change, Natasha, while you're here today?
One thing I think, just from a therapeutic point of view, is I really like to help people understand and validate the reasons we do things and how common a lot of these human traits are, because we often think it's just me.
It's just me.
There's memes and jokes about people not following through on New Year's resolutions, but internally, a lot of us still feel like I'm the only one who messed up and didn't follow through. And then there's that, that beating up on self. And there's really a lot of significant reasons behind why we struggle to follow through. And it's better to uncover that than to repeat the cycle every year, or to, throughout the year, I'm going to start my diet on Monday or on the first of the month. And we set dates that don't coincide with necessarily what's happening internally.
Right. That's good. I mean, this has been, first of all, this has just been extremely enlightening. And because I feel like I've learned more about the psychology of change, and where contemplation meets preparation meets implementation, and then maintenance, is what I think I'm walking away with from today's discussion with you. And if we can just even grab hold of that theory, then we can be able to know how we can start walking out some of the new. I see you, Mackenzie. She popped back in. Thank you for helping me backstage today. And so I think if we continue in that vein, it's going to make a big difference. So everybody, make sure you check out this webinar that's happening, and it's coming up the end of the month of January. I'll start on Monday. Change Beyond Your Motivation tickets, only $10. You can do this because it's going to be a game changer. Now, in your comedic side, before we just close out, I want to at least hear you say, is there a favorite joke you tell? Is there one thing that you are known for? What's your flair?
Well, I actually, and this was the funny thing, I had somebody I was working with, and we used to joke that we were going to create a comedy tour and call it "This Is Why I'm Single." Because the content we said we would talk about was our dating lives. Because most people can relate, and most people have had something ridiculous happen.
Okay.
And so what's funny now is I find every once in a while I'm just having a random conversation with somebody. I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot about that. I'm adding that to my comedy routine, because I'm like, unfortunately, well, now I think it's fortunate that I've met some men who have just been like, unbeknownst to them, were writing my act for me with some of the things they said, some of the things they did. So I think one of the recent things that I added to my comedy act, and I'm a thicker woman, I'm not a skinny woman. And I was thinner then, but I've still never been skinny. And a man told me once, he said, "You look durable." And I'm like, why? And he thought this was a compliment. Am I Rubbermaid? Like, so in my joke, I'm like, am I built for tough? Like, what is durable? Like, how do you say that to a woman? Think she's like, oh my God, do you want my number? Like, why? How do I respond to that?
Hi. Okay, so I'm a role play person. So, oh, baby, you look durable.
Yeah.
It's like, we won't be going out. What do you plan on doing with this durability?
I think I kind of looked at him in awe, because it was just like, how does one think that this is a compliment?
That is so crazy. That is definitely not a compliment.
No,
I don't think. I don't know, but maybe it is.
I didn't quite receive it as that.
Maybe it is a compliment. I don't know. Men would have to chime in on that.
It might have been the intention, but again, it's, language is a very tricky thing. And so what's intended versus what's received, there can definitely be a disconnect. So I think there was a disconnect in the saying that. And I mean, I understood the context. I understood the context was, I appreciate that you're not skinny. Like, I recognize that, but it was durable. Just literally the first thing I thought was, Rubbermaid, like those containers my parents bought in the 70s have lasted till now. So I'm like, am I durable like Rubbermaid? Am I like, I just don't know.
That's hilarious. So listen, this is today's episode, everyone. We've had a wonderful time with Michael and Carrie Bird from lessons.church, free app that you can go and download. And it is a very well-oiled situation machine type of thing that's free resources for you and your congregations. We've had Natasha Halliday here today to talk with us about the psychology of change. Listen, I encourage you to be a part of the virtual studio audience all this week because we do have new episodes lined up for you. And if you're interested in pouring into our ministry, the Kim Jacobs Show, because I do believe it is a ministry, I've put in the comments section as well how you can also sow into the Kim Jacobs Show. So make sure you take a moment to do that. And it's greatly appreciated. Anything that you do to make this program allow us to bring balance to the world, one household at a time. Okay. All right, Natasha, closing comment.
Closing comment. Ask yourself some questions before you decide what changes you want to make.
That's good. There you have it. We're closing on that note. Have a great day. And thank you for tuning in. Bye-bye. You're awesome. You are awesome.
Thanks so much.
Like what you do always.
You too,
Go ahead
man.
and close out, Mackenzie. Have a great one, everybody. See you tomorrow. Hello, everyone. I'm Kim Jacobs, host of The Kim Jacobs Show, where we're bringing balance to the world, one household at a time. Listen, we go live every weekday, Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I bring guests on that talk about their backstories, things that they've had to overcome to become who they are today. Many of them are balancing and juggling life, and they've become experts in different fields. So they're sharing tips with you to make your life just a little bit easier. Many times as a guest in the studio audience, you'll get a chance to walk away with a missing piece of the puzzle that might be missing in your life. Let's go on this journey together, and I look forward to seeing you Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on The Kim Jacobs Show.